All right, this is 6.3, solving multi-step inequalities. So we're putting together what we did in 6.1 and 6.2. We're putting it all in one problem. And then we have a couple little extra things that could happen when we do that. So first, let's do kind of a regular old multi-step problem. So in this problem, I have variables on both sides. We had that in the last chapter with our equal sign. So we're not going to treat it any differently. We're going to go through right now and solve this problem to get the variables on one side. Now you know me, I like to get rid of the smaller one first, so I'm going to do that. But if you decided to subtract 5x, that's okay. You're just going to do the problem differently, but we'll have the same thing in the end. So I have 2x minus 12 on the left is less than or equal to negative 4. And I'm going to eliminate the negative 12 by adding 12. So 2x is less than or equal to 8. Divide both sides by 2. X is less than or equal to 4. And I didn't have to do any inequality flipping, did I? So 4 goes in the middle. I'm going to pick a couple above and a couple below, remember. And then it's a solid dot because it's equal to 4. So I shade it in because it's equal. And then it's less than. So that is to the left. And remember, if you had solved it and the variable x was on the right, you would need to rewrite the problem so that you could have it on the left, so you would shade it in the correct direction. Okay, so I'm going to give you one to practice on your own. It's a negative 1/3 x, sorry, not an x, a negative 1/3 times the quantity of x plus 21 is less than 2. Okay, so go ahead and solve for x and then graph your inequality symbol. Pause the video and go ahead and do that. All right, I threw a couple tricks in there. So first of all, you may have distributed the negative third through. That's totally fine. You just did more work than you had to do. I decided to eliminate it right away by multiplying both sides by negative 3. But when I multiplied by negative 3, what happened to my inequality symbol? It flipped, right? And I'm left with x plus 21 is greater than negative 6. Subtract 21 to both sides, so x is greater than negative 27. I've got my number line, I've got a nice big open circle on negative 27, and I've got my shading on the line and to the right of negative 27. Okay, so let's talk about when some crazy things can happen. So let's look at number 3 here. Number 3, I'm going to have 5 times the quantity of m plus 5, which is less than 5m plus 17. So the first thing I need to do here is probably distribute. You may say, hey, I could divide by 5, but I'm going to end up with a decimal over there, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to distribute the 5 through to both of those. So it becomes 5m plus 25 is less than 5m plus 17. And now all of a sudden I'm noticing something. I have 5m on each side, so look what happens. When I subtract 5m to both sides, they totally cancel out. There's 0m. 0 times anything is 0. And I'm left with 25 is less than 17. Is 25 less than 17? Absolutely not. So this is no solution. There is no way to do this problem. There's no number to plug in for m. It won't work. That's a no solutions problem. And if you're like, well, how do I graph a no solutions problem? Well, you wouldn't really have a graph, but if you wanted to be technical, you would literally just have a number line with no shading on it at all. It would just look like that. All right, number 4 is a little different from that one as well, so we're going to do this one. 1 minus 8s is less than or equal to a negative 4 times the quantity of 2s minus 1. Again, I could divide both sides by negative 4, but I don't want to do that in this one because I'll end up with a fraction right here, and I'm going to try to avoid that. So I'm going to distribute. And if you're someone who's going to forget about this negative sign here, you should probably make this plus a negative right now. I'm just going to rewrite the left side as 1 minus 8s. So that's less than or equal to negative 4 times 2s. Now, I'm not flipping the sign because I wasn't multiplying or dividing on both sides. I'm still doing it over here on this guy, so I haven't affected that sign. So that's a negative 8s plus 4 now. It should start looking familiar. I'm going to make this one a negative 8s. What happens when it's on the same side? Well, you might think it's not that it's like the last one and it's no solution, but watch what happens when I add 8s. I get 1 is less than or equal to 4. Is 1 less than or equal to 4? Yeah, it is. So you know what that means? It's all real numbers. There are infinitely many solutions. So we say there are all real numbers are solutions. And how would you draw that on a number line? What do you think we do? You're right. We're going to shade the entire number line with arrows going on, because it doesn't matter what number we plug in for s there, it's going to work for everything. All right, so those are all the types of inequality problems you can have, and you are on your way in 6-3.